All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Love Yourself Movement podcast. This is where I take my ideas from my mind onto your screens. So grab a snack, grab a drink, and let's get ready for the conversation. So, the first thing or the topic I really just wanted to talk about was just some of the things I learned from 2020. And then you might say, but Kyle, it's kind of like the second or third week in January. How come you're now talking about that? And then I would say thank you very much for that segue because that is my first lesson of 2020 of what I learned last year is that things don't happen on your time. For a lot of us, we think that, okay, we are scheduling certain things to happen and we do that with our lives. We have this timeline of where things should be taking place, when things should be taking place. You get married at this point. I know, watch me. I know a lot of you all said by 23, 24, going to be married, have children, have a stable job, and you have a house. We're not going to talk about what you really have. You're doing your best. You're doing good so far. But you reach that level. But it will happen in its time. And that's the thing. Like so many things that we put on this clock, we put on this timeline is always like, what time is it now? What time is it now? I'm supposed to get these things done now. But it ain't gonna happen like that. Life isn't set out like that. And 2020 was the biggest lesson in terms of things are not going to happen on your time. They'll happen when they need to happen, but not on your time. Another example, this mic, everything like that. That was supposed to come since like get everything together, getting money, everything together before the end of 2020. I actually got all the new equipment the last day of the year. So that's several months after I planned for everything to come across, and it was just giving me anxiety, bothering me. I want to start this off since probably October, September, somewhere there, and it's just like, oh gosh, these things taking so long and whatever. And it's only now that I have it, I think it really happened at the best time, because if I had it before, I think I'd have been way too busy and just had too much anxiety about the whole thing. And it came at a point where, things really calmed down. School was done. Everything was more or less in a good place for me to really just jump in and pour everything into the podcast at this point, the video podcast at this point. So that's the first lesson. Don't rush yourself about time. Don't beat yourself up about time, because you don't know what life is. You don't know what the timetable is. So your timetable may not match up to the world's timetable, and you just have to accept that. That's just part of life. And the sooner you accept it, is the easier it will be. I'm not saying those are timelines for things, but make it flexible. Make it in a way that, okay, well, this didn't happen at this particular time. It's still a goal of mine, but it's not happening as yet. I'm working towards it, and when it happens, it happens. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two now. Not achieving your goals is completely okay. And I know it sounds weird, like I usually push motivation, get your goals, achieve everything, like, 100% accuracy, 100% success rate. But again, this year or last year has taught me a lot. At the beginning of every year, I usually sit down right before the new year starts, So between 11:50 and 12:10, sit down and I really just pour out on my mind all the things I want to get done for the new year. So I sat down and I made some goals. I made some financial goals, some relationship goals, and some physical goals, and some love yourself movement goals as well. And I can tell you with 100% certainty that I have not achieved a single thing. And that was bugging me for the longest while. But to be honest, it's okay. It's completely fine. It's really fine. And let me explain why. So, financial goals didn't work out. Why? COVID, right? Didn't get as much work as I expected, and that's part of life, right? And that, while I didn't achieve the goal, what did happen is I had to become very, very creative. I had to put Mr. Krabs up on my wall and say, all right, you're my role model. Let's see how we're going to start saving that money, And because of my financial situation, I push myself now to learn more about money, because I have less money to play with. I have very, very, way less money to play with. So now I'm pushing myself to listen to Dave Ramsey, Anthony O'Neill, all of these people to understand, what was the best way of using my money. And because I didn't achieve that financial goal, I was now able to learn more. And now I think I'm better off not achieving that goal, because the knowledge I gained from that loss is way more valuable than if I achieved that particular goal, in my opinion. Going with the physical goal, I met it, but I didn't meet it fully. I met it for a short period of time, and then I lost it, and then I got back there, and then I lost it. And again, that's fine, because I had to accept that, as much as I have goals, I can meet them and not meet them, but my goals shouldn't be so rigid. It shouldn't be that you have to achieve this, and if you don't achieve it, well, that's the end of that, you just fail. Because there's so many different factors in play. When I started in January talking about my goals, COVID wasn't really, it was a thing, but it wasn't really too much of a thing. And at that point, it wasn't as bad. Like, carnival still took place, everything like that. So when I set my goals, it was completely different from now. And trying to put the goals and expectations from January up throughout the entire year while the world is changing and not changing your goals, it doesn't make sense. Like, they talk about SMART goals, and I think the smart thing to do with your SMART goals is to adjust them to the environment around you. Because if your environment has changed completely, it wouldn't make any sort of sense just to leave your goals where they are, regardless of what's happening with the world. It makes no sense. It's going to drive you crazy. It's going to make you stressed out. It's going to affect your mental health, your physical health. It's going to affect everything. And that just doesn't make sense. And relationship goals, well, I'm not Kevin Hart, so we're going to just pass that completely, because that's a very funny story. The next thing I learned, number 3, is that we are capable of way more than we realize. So I say this to say that if someone told me at the beginning of 2020 what I would have accomplished at the end of 2020, I'd say, you lie. I would say there's no way those things happen, because one, I wouldn't do that. There's no way I would have the resilience to do that or the creativity to do it. And what I realize is a lot of us are way more resilient, creative, and capable than we give ourselves credit for. Example with the Love Yourself movement thing, I never thought that I would put out like mask or merch or anything like that. Never thought I would be pushing videos in that aspect. Never thought I would have to do school in the sense of never going in class, because trust me, I hate going in a classroom, but the shift to online learning posed new challenges, and I thought, like, I was honestly fed up. And fed up. Like, that's a new word. Okay, creating new words in 2021, people. Write it down. Fed up. And I was really fed up at that point in time, but somehow I was able to push through, and I'm now on my IG, my Twitter, and everything, and I'm seeing a lot of people graduating. Congrats to everybody who graduated, because you all pushed through at a very rough time. There are a lot of school children who are doing some amazing stuff. There are a lot of us who are working from home. That transition from working in the office to working from home, ooh, that was bumpy. It was just like one day in the office, all right, guys, come in the office, and at the end of the day, yeah, we don't really want to see y'all because you might cough on me, and I don't really want you coughing on me because that's COVID. And not to make light of this situation, but that's just how quickly it switched. It just switched, and it was just like, this is your normal life, and it's not coming back again, or not coming back anytime soon, I should say. So props to everybody. We're doing well so far. To the people who are not putting on their mask and stuff, please do. To the people who think that, the vaccine has a chip in it, please read a book. And to people who still think 5G causes COVID, bless you. The fourth lesson that I learned is perspective is everything. And I want to jump into that a lot more, so I think I might just do a whole episode on perspective. But before I would have had certain thoughts about things, And it's only through the collective rough time that everybody really experienced that I realized that once our perspective started to change a bit, we realized that things are bad, but they could get better. Things are bad, but we could still do well. We could still pursue our goals and stuff like that. So, in that aspect, one major thing, or two major things I would bring up, is one, in terms of jobs, a lot of us lost employment, a lot of us lost, or lost, like, or had salary cuts basically. And through that, we were more focusing on the loss and we didn't realize the stuff that we still have. Now, I'm not in any way trying to ignore the massive impact that that would have in terms of, okay, you have bills to pay and stuff like that. Yes, I get that. But aside from that, I'm having a separate topic here. In these times, there are a lot of things to be grateful for in terms of life and stuff like that. Because apart from COVID happening, a lot of bad things happened throughout the year. People didn't realize, but at the same point in time, there are lots of good things that happened, and I think what I learned is that you just have to really put a lot of focus on those good things, a lot of focus on the positive. Because if you only study the negative, only study every bad thing that happens on the news, every bad thing that's on social media, you're just gonna be in that loop. Every morning is just negative upon negative upon negative upon negative. And I mean, physics and everything speaking, it should have a positive at some point because two negatives make a positive. But we really had to add some positivity. And in that sense, I think that changing your perspective puts some of that positive energy into your own hands in terms of, okay, there's a negative situation ahead, but what is the positive? I am seeing a negative situation. So, what is the positive outcome? What is the positive take? What is the lesson? How do we pivot away from this negative situation? So, that's the fourth lesson. And the fifth lesson, and this is a lesson that I'm still trying to process at this point in time, is it's okay to take a break. And it's going to sound weird, but I've seen a lot of people post on it on social media. A lot of us were going very, very hard. I could say for myself, every day I would be up before the sunrise, and by the time I reach home, it's night again. So sunlight and I aren't really friends, to be honest. I'm like a bat. You could call me Batman from now on, I guess. If the title fits, I mean, But honestly, though, a lot of us were pushing ourselves really hard over the past few years and everything like that. And this period of lockdowns, this period of working from home, studying from home, everything like that, it made us switch gears. It made us slow down. It made us stop and think about what are the essential items. Who are the essential workers, basically? What is really essential in life? What do I really need to put my energy in? Because for me, as I was saying, I was going really hard. And it's during COVID I started slowing down because I had no choice but slow down because I couldn't go anywhere really. It's not like I could go online and I'm not, you know. So because of that and because of that slowdown, it helped me realize that hey, sleep is a thing. You should sleep ever so often. Hey, you could read a book. Hey, there's some different aspects in life. It doesn't always have to be grind every day. Drink that coffee. That coffee. I'm breaking real words in 2021, people. Yeah, drink that coffee. Grind hard. Don't stop motivation. Hustle hard. Like, if you keep that way, you're going to burn out. You're really going to burn out. You're going to crash and burn. Because the amount of times I think a lot of people who have this hustle mentality and have this go hard mentality, they don't really take care of themselves. And if you don't take care of yourself, how do you expect to take care of the ones you love? And the hard part about this whole take a break thing is for me as well as other people to understand is okay. Because for me personally, if I lie down, like first of all, I don't even like lying down on a bed unless I need to sleep, one. And two, I feel like if I sleep more than 5 hours in the night, I've been lazy. Like big man thing. If I sleep 8 hours a night, And I get up and be like, wow, Kyle, you're real lazy. Like, you're real oversleeping. Like, you have things to do. That paper to make that bread, that pan, pan. I'll just put at the bottom here what pan mean. But it have that money to make and all that. So, that wasn't healthy. And I can't say if my health has improved, but my mental health has improved a bit. And it's changed my perspective, going back to point 4 about life. So, guys, take it easy. Slow down a bit. Yes, hustle hard, go hard. But that same energy hitting that work with, that same enthusiasm, hit the relaxation with the same enthusiasm. Go to the beach, really relax. Don't just say taking the day off and you open your laptop to do work. Or say leaving the office but you're still doing work when you reach home. Or anything like that. Like, really just take a break, give your mind some ease so that way you could go in the office and do your best and then reach home and then relax your best. So that's basically it. It's just really, I just want to offload all of that before I started getting into those heavy hitting topics that you will be getting from these podcasts. So, like the video if you liked it, share it with a friend, and follow for more Love Yourself movement content. I know that kind of seemed abrupter, but didn't really have much more after the 5th lesson. So, yeah, guys, thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.